Ethan Stone is an engineer working for a large company that builds refineries and nuclear power plants. He married Juliette Horowitz 9 months ago. Ethan stands tall at 6 feet 4 inches, but his face is so unattractive that even cats avoid him. He is very thin, weighing just 140 pounds, with blue eyes and light brown curly eyebrows. Juliette is stunning, blonde hair falling to her chest, blue eyes, and a gorgeous figure with a DD cup. The only catch, she's only 4 feet 8 inches. She was a kindergarten teacher but quit after marriage. Ethan travels about 90% of the time, so Juliette spends most of her days alone in their new home in Richardson, Texas. Originally from Boston, she has few friends nearby. She's 8 months pregnant with triplets, all girls. She keeps busy reading, watching TV, cooking, she's excellent at it, and cleaning. Juliette's desire for intimacy is intense. Whenever Ethan is home, she wants to be close with him, but Ethan is asexual. Though clearly hetero, he lacks interest in intimacy. He participates without passion. Juliette wishes he were more affectionate, but he remains distant and detached. After a 10-week assignment in Taiwan helping build a new nuclear plant, Ethan's flight landed late at night. A car service took him home. Arriving around 3 a.m. expecting Juliette to be asleep, he quietly entered the house but was met with yelling from the bedroom. He opened the door and found Juliette in bed with a black man. The man was exceptionally well endowed, far larger than Ethan, whose own size was modest. Juliette greeted Ethan casually, "Hi honey. How was your flight?" Confused, Ethan stammered, Why? Juliette laughed and muttered an unintelligible phrase. The man vanished, and Ethan was frozen, able to see and hear but unable to speak. Juliette revealed, "I'm a warlock, nearly 10,000 years old. I've shifted forms countless times, male, female, and various creatures. Juliette is just the latest body I inhabit." Ethan was stunned. She continued, "I want your body. Your soul will inhabit mine, and I will take yours. I'll rise to CEO level in your company within a year or 2 and keep its power. The transfer will take 5 to 6 hours and be agonizingly painful. Afterwards, you will become Juliette, still pregnant. I'll enhance you with a bigger male organ, a more handsome face, and a smarter brain. We'll remain married, but I'll have other affairs." She whispered another strange phrase. Ethan felt excruciating pain for 6 hours before losing consciousness. When he awoke, he found himself holding Juliette's head. "How did you sleep?" he asked. "Strange dreams," she said. He laughed, "Pregnancy cravings and late-night snacks, probably." He kissed her and suggested making love. For 3 intense hours, they were close. Juliette was amazed by his newfound virility. Ethan got dressed and said, "I have to work this morning." "It's Sunday," she protested. "I know, but I have things to prepare before Monday," he replied, kissing her again. Juliette glanced at her body for the first time in weeks. Petite and heavily pregnant, she listened to the baby's heartbeats. She prepared dinner for Ethan, then did her hair, makeup, and put on a sexy maternity dress with 5-inch heels. After dinner, she watched soap operas, crying at the endings. She waited for Ethan until 2 a.m., then discarded the cold food, changed into a seductive robe and slippers, read a romance novel, and finally fell asleep around 4 a.m. The next day, Juliette enjoyed a slow bubble bath, styled her hair, applied makeup, and dressed in a blouse revealing her chest and a short skirt with 4.5-inch mules. She drove to an upscale mall, bought 3 maternity dresses, and 2 pairs of high-heeled pumps. Back home by 4 p.m., she made a gourmet 4-course vegan dinner, French-Canadian tourtière and banana foster flambé without the meat for herself, while Ethan ate normally. After more soaps and reading, she once again discarded the meal and changed into another seductive robe. She slept until Ethan arrived at 4 a.m., slightly drunk and with lipstick on his collar. She knew what had happened but loved him anyway. They made love again. 3 months after the babies were born, Juliette became pregnant again. Ethan was mostly absent, but when present, they were intimate. He told her that 2 girlfriends were moving in. Though unhappy, Juliette was addicted to Ethan. On moving day, Juliette met the newcomers, Bianca, a tall black woman at 6 feet 2 inches, and Esme, a 6-foot French model. Both were stunning and taller than Juliette. Both women looked down on Juliette. They were stunning and wealthy, with no children, living carefree lives. They often demanded dinner from Juliette or ordered her to clean their rooms. Juliette mentioned this to Ethan, but he just laughed, saying, "You're imagining things." Afterward, he made love to her. The triplets arrived, 3 girls again. Meanwhile, Bianca and Esme insisted Juliette wear a uniform, a revealing black outfit trimmed with white lace, with a hemline barely 3 inches below her underwear, paired with 5-inch heels. They made Juliette curtsy and addressed them as ma'am or madam. They took control of the house. Juliette was moved out of the master suite and into a small maid's room across the hall. The 2 had large rooms with doors opening into the master suite. They fitted Juliette with a collar device that would deliver a shock to her chest if the madams wished. Juliette's credit cards were cancelled and her bank accounts closed. She had no money and had to ask Bianca or Esme for cash, who glared at her as if she were stealing. They enjoyed humiliating her. Sometimes they put a leash on Juliette's neck and walked her like a pet. Juliette slept on the floor in their rooms or in the master suite. They would throw dog biscuits to her, the only food aside from water, which she drank from a dog bowl. Bianca spoke to her in simple commands, "Don't bark, Juliette," or "Want to go for a walk." One day, Esme gave Juliette a skimpy bikini and 7-inch heels. She ordered Juliette to crawl on all fours like a well-behaved dog, maintaining her makeup and hair at all times. Failure meant being kicked out. Speaking any words besides woof or bark was forbidden. When Juliette asked about her babies, Esme struck her. "If you speak again, you're out. Your babies are in an orphanage in Asia, soon to be sold as slaves." Juliette began to cry, but Esme showed no mercy. "Your new name is Fifi." That night, Juliette slept on the floor wearing her bikini. The next day, needing to use the bathroom but unable to speak, she whimpered at Esme, who was doing her makeup and hair. Angered, Esme struck Juliette's face and chest, then activated the collar device, shocking her for 5 minutes. In panic, Juliette urinated on the white carpet. Enraged, Esme grabbed a knife from her makeup case and slashed Juliette's cheek and chests. Bleeding heavily, Juliette fled on all fours outside. She hid behind a cabana near the pool for 14 hours while Bianca and Esme searched for her. Bianca eventually found her and brought her back inside, tending to her wounds. Juliette slept on the floor, exhausted. The next day, Esme announced that Juliette's hair would be dyed and permed. Excited, Juliette was taken by Bianca, still wearing the bikini and heels, in Bianca's Lamborghini to an upscale salon. The stylist suggested shocking pink hair, and the perm specialist recommended very tight curls, almost like an afro. Esme approved enthusiastically, "Oui." She told the receptionist they would return the next day. Juliette whimpered to Esme, who assured her, "You'll be safe." Juliette remained fearful. The hairstylist had 3 other dogs to finish before Juliette, now called Fifi, so she was locked in a small cage with 4 large male dogs. Tragically, the dogs attacked her multiple times, leaving her with numerous injuries. Afterward, the humans completed the hair treatment. Fifi looked like a pink stuffed animal, adorned with a bow around her neck and wearing a new bikini. She was placed in a private cage and managed to get some rest. The next day, they touched up the perm while waiting for Esme to arrive. Around 4 p.m., the chauffeur came to pick Fifi up. He fastened her collar and leash and led her to the limousine. During the ride, he spoke kindly to Juliette, expressing sorrow over what the women had done to her and her babies. They talked at length, and he explained that Ethan was a powerful man who needed special companionship. He planned to hire high-end escorts for Ethan, including male companions. Upon arriving home, the chauffeur told Juliette she'd have to continue walking like a dog. Juliette smiled and said, "That's okay. This is the first real conversation I've had since Bianca and Esme took over." Thank you. She kissed him on the cheek, and he smiled back. Bianca and Esme were asleep after a night out dancing with Ethan and spending intimate time with him. The chauffeur left Juliette in Esme's bedroom. When Esme woke, she kissed and hugged Fifi, speaking softly in French. She told Fifi they would attend a garden party sponsored by an elite purebred dog club, just the two of them would go. The next morning, the chauffeur took Fifi back to the dog salon. Her hair was washed and blow-dried to perfection. She received a new red, white, and blue bikini and 6-inch high heels. However, she spent most of the day confined in a small cage, holding her need to use the bathroom for about 7 hours until Esme released her at the garden party. There, Fifi was paraded proudly and even won first prize along with the Fabulous Poodle Award. The celebration was short-lived. When Esme chose to spend time with a wealthy man, Fifi was confined to her cage for a full day. Over the next 6 years, Fifi accumulated 72 first-place awards, truly becoming a pedigreed companion. She learned to walk on all fours like a well-trained dog and never spoke again, communicating only through barks and growls. Esme closely monitored Fifi's weight, ensuring she never gained an ounce. Eventually, Esme left Ethan and Bianca, tired of their presence. She and Fifi moved to Manhattan's Upper East Side. There, Esme began dating a physician named Michael Stone, no relation to Ethan. Michael took to walking Fifi, and she grew fond of him. The couple married, with Fifi participating in the procession dressed in white silk and lace. They all settled into Michael's Fifth Avenue co-op. Esme became a full-time wife and devoted herself to charitable causes related to dogs, including groups for abused dogs, guide dogs, and dogs for the deaf. Her main focus, however, remained Michael and Fifi. The three enjoyed many happy vacations together, always including Fifi. After 6 joyful years, Esme was diagnosed with advanced pancreatic cancer and passed away 3 months later, with Michael and Fifi by her side. Upon her final breath, Fifi howled mournfully. 6 months into mourning, Michael and Fifi took a vacation to a private island in French Polynesia called Motu Tipamawa. With only a chef and a maid for company, the two, man and devoted companion, spent 3 peaceful weeks together. Did they make love? Well, since they were different species, let's leave that aside. 6 weeks after returning, Fifi began whimpering, so Michael took her to the vet. The vet confirmed she was pregnant, with 6 puppies, 4 girls and 2 boys. Michael sat stunned. Curious if Fifi could learn any human communication, Michael hired a professor from Columbia University to teach her some language. After 5 months, Fifi had learned simple English words like Michael, food, doo-doo, and pee-pee. By then, she was 7 months pregnant. Michael asked if she wanted a human name. She responded, Juliette. Surprised, Michael kissed her in the kitchen and asked, "Will you marry me?" She barked happily and smiled. Michael presented her with a custom engagement ring designed for someone who walks on all fours. For the wedding, Juliette, formerly Fifi, wore an elegant ivory gown by Vera Wang, still walking on 4 legs. Michael consulted Rabbi Amy Gold from Temple Emmanuel on 5th Avenue about marrying a dog. He thought she was a non-Jewish woman. The rabbi said Juliette needed to convert first. When Michael mentioned her pregnancy, Amy smiled and said, "Then we must hurry." Amy began teaching Juliette basic prayers, which Juliette immediately learned. After praying, she expected a treat, surprising both Amy and Michael. With limited English and possibly limited cognition, Juliette expressed herself through kisses and affection. On the wedding day, a maid helped Juliette with hair, a special pedicure, for her paws, and professional makeup. She donned the wedding dress and high heels. Though her belly was small, it was expected to grow over the next 7 weeks. About 100 guests attended the ceremony. Juliette recited prayers, and Michael gave her a wedding band. They kissed. She was now Juliette Stone. The reception took place at the Loeb Boathouse in Central Park. Juliette ran, quick and agile on 4 legs, from the temple to the boathouse. When Michael's limo arrived, he found her drinking from the lake. He told her to freshen up in the ladies' room, and she trotted off, tail wagging. Juliette surprised everyone with a heartfelt, 2-minute speech, with help from the Columbia professor, explaining why she loved Michael. Michael was deeply moved. They skipped a honeymoon due to her impending delivery but enjoyed a relaxing weekend at East Hampton, Long Island. Juliette loved running on the beach, wearing sexy maternity swimsuits. Michael taught her how to make love in a non-canine way. She enjoyed it but still loved the canine style. Back home, Michael worried about the birth. He considered whether she should labor at a human hospital or an animal clinic on York Avenue and 62nd Street. After consulting Dr. Michael Broadman, chairman of the OB/GYN department at Mount Sinai Medical Center, they agreed to admit Juliette for observation, given her unique nature. On delivery day, they rushed to Mount Sinai. Labor was difficult. 6 puppies meant 18 hours of labor. Both obstetricians and veterinarians attended. The puppies were hybrids, fur legs, dog-like noses, furry bodies, and tails. 5 had human-like brains, while 1 female had a canine brain. 5 were strikingly beautiful, 1 looked more dog-like. Michael and Juliette brought the brood home. Juliette naturally began nursing her puppies with her large chests, though limited to feeding 2 at a time. Michael marveled at her maternal instinct. Local TV featured a soft news story on Juliette and her puppies, which attracted wider media attention. In Manhattan, she became a celebrity. Crowds gathered whenever she walked with her pups. Juliette loved the attention and paparazzi, even giving a cable TV interview, something Michael disliked but she insisted on. A reality TV producer approached her with a contract for a show starring Juliette and the puppies. Though she signed, Michael firmly refused. Juliette was disappointed but understood. Meanwhile, her language skills improved, both spoken and written. She still walked on all 4s but dressed like a wealthy socialite. She refused to use public transport, traveling only by limousine, and wore Gucci sunglasses non-stop. After about 4 years, Juliette's English and intelligence were roughly at a 5th grade level. She was like a 10-year-old child. Her puppies were nearly grown. The 5 with human-like brains were sharp and learned much faster than typical children, despite being smaller than Juliette. The 6th, named Boom Boom, all Juliette's children had canine names, was the runt. She was beautiful with blonde hair and blue eyes but thought like a simple dog, not a clever one. If she had a tail, she'd wag it constantly. Michael and Juliette worried about her, knowing many unsavory men might take advantage of her and discard her afterward. Michael joked that if Boom Boom were Catholic or Buddhist, she could become a nun and be safe. Juliette didn't understand the humor. They bought a vacation home on Florida's East Coast, with nearly 3 miles of beach for the kids to run and play. Juliette and her puppies loved racing along the shore, barking and fetching driftwood. Back in Manhattan, some of Juliette's friends mocked her behind her back, laughing because she walked like a dog and had canine children. Some parents even tried to have Juliette's kids removed from private schools. Juliette wanted to fit into the upper-class crowd. She dressed in designer fashion but was still unmistakably a dog. Despite that, she loved the paparazzi. Her photos frequently appeared in supermarket tabloids, and tourists constantly surrounded their building. Occasionally, Juliette and her children appeared on TV. Online, rumors spread claiming they were aliens or military experiments gone wrong. Some stories even alleged Juliette was intimate with her own children. 2 of her pups bit the male woman's leg, sparking a media frenzy. For 2 months, their lives resembled a 3-ring circus. To escape, they stayed in Florida. Boom Boom, though young, knew she was beautiful and wore provocative clothing. She was the only puppy who always walked on all 4s, the others switched between 2 and 4 legs. She never learned human language but was well behaved. In Florida, Boom Boom fell in with a rough crowd that smoked tobacco and marijuana. One young man liked her, though he never asked. Boom Boom pushed him to be intimate. She became pregnant. When Michael and Juliette found out, Juliette sensing it instinctively, they were furious. Michael wanted her to abort, but Juliette believed Boom Boom wanted to keep the puppies. Juliette confronted the man, Tom Jacks, asking if he'd marry Boom Boom, with Michael looming behind, shotgun in hand. Tom Jacks agreed, joining the family. The litter had 5 puppies, 4 girls and 1 boy, all attractive but with simple canine minds, meaning no universities for them. Boom Boom quickly took to caring for her babies, which made Juliette happy. The boy, Pima, was extremely feminine and the runt of the litter. Small in stature with delicate hands and shoulders, he walked like a girl and preferred playing with dolls and tea sets. By age 5, he wore only dresses, skirts, and blouses. Pima changed his name to Lady Lynn. Tom Jacks was disturbed and began drinking heavily. One day, Lady Lynn told Tom Jacks he wanted to change both gender and species. Devastated, Tom Jacks took his own life. 2 years later, Lady Lynn did exactly that, transitioning into a gorgeous human woman named Linda. Interestingly, Juliette remembered everything from her past life as Ethan and Juliette. She shared her history with Michael, who was amazed. Worried he might reject her, Juliette was reassured when Michael smiled, kissed her, and said, "You're my wife, forever." Period. Michael contacted Ethan Stone, now CEO of a multi-conglomerate corporation but secretly hiding funds. Under congressional scrutiny, Ethan was forced to resign. He lived in a small mansion in Encino, California, married Bianca, and had 7 mixed-race children. Bianca converted to Reform Judaism, so the children were raised Jewish. When Michael spoke with Ethan, Ethan admitted he knew about Juliette and said, "I allowed Esme and Bianca to abuse her." He revealed he was unaware of Juliette's special gene before the change, one that would stop his powers after transferring bodies, meaning he would die in this form. Michael responded, "You're an evil man, and I'm glad your powers are gone. Goodbye." He didn't tell Juliette about the conversation, it wouldn't change anything. They settled in an upscale suburban neighborhood, moving into a sprawling mansion spacious enough for all of Juliette's children. There was plenty of land for both the humans and canines to run and roam freely. To Michael, both were equal and cherished alike. Michael retired, and he and Juliette split their time between both homes. They loved their family, both human and canine. Over the years, they welcomed children, grandchildren, and even great-grandchildren. One of Michael's greatest joys was playing with his great-granddogs. The little dogs would grab a ball or rag and dash around, and Michael would throw it high for them to chase while they barked excitedly. Watching him, Juliette thought she had the best husband and owner in the world. Michael lived to 108. Juliette survived him by 32 years, and every single day, without fail, she visited his gravesite to talk to him. Nearly every night, she held to the moon, mourning the love she truly felt for him. When Juliette passed away, a memorial service was held at Temple Emmanuel, attended by 1,350 guests. The gravesite service drew 1,620 attendees, including children, dogs, grandchildren, granddogs, great-grandchildren, great-granddogs, great-great-grandchildren, great-great-great-dogs, and an astonishing 26 great-great-great-granddogs. After the rabbi concluded the ceremony, the dogs held to the moon in a heartfelt tribute. If you appreciated this story and wish to show your support, don't forget to join me on Patreon for exclusive content.